to the Kitchen Knitter podcast, my podcast where I show you what I've been knitting and sewing. My name is Suzanne and I live in Cheshire in the northwest of England with my husband. We have 3 grown-up children and 3 grandchildren. I have no finished objects. Not in the knitting content anyway. But I can show you what I've been knitting, and there's an almost finished object. Let's have a look. So the almost finished object is some socks, and I think I showed this yarn on my first podcast, first or second podcast, and I changed my mind on the pattern. I just decided I would knit a plain pair of socks, vanilla socks. So I've done that one. Well, I say I've done it, but I have got to Kitchener. It's a lovely yarn. It's coming out sort of it's whiter. It's a more creamier background, but the greens and the greys. Sorry, but it's a creamier. It is creamier. I'm in a different location today. I'm in the conservatory because next door, our neighbours are having some work done, and there was some drilling, and I think it was a bit noisy, and the dog was barking too. So, perfectly plain socks. I use the Winnick Mums pattern. I have this funny little gap there because I cast on the DPNs, but then I go on to 9-inch circulars like this for my socks. I've said before I can't use DPNs, and Magic Loop I just forget to twirl it round, and you know, so I end up knitting on the same side all the time. So, but this works for me. Again, the yarn is Sherry Iris, and it is a sock club, the August Life of Bird sock club, and it is superwash merino and nylon. Oh, pigeon just landed on the roof. Yeah, so, and that's the pattern, my very shabby tatty pattern, and I knit them on Chaigu 2.25 Chaigu needles. So hopefully I should finish those this week, really. No excuse. The next thing I'll show you is I showed you this on my last podcast. There's the Marge cardigan, a pattern by Along avec Anna, and I'm not going to knit mine as long as this. I think I'll probably go to about there. I've only got 3 skeins of yarn, but I don't want to knit it that long. I want to wear it with dresses, so I'll sort of perhaps crop it to there. It's got this sort of pattern down the front by the button band. Now I've had 3 attempts at knitting this. I think I showed you last time I had started the raglan shapings and realised that I'd made a mistake. I'd got one of the little shapings in the wrong place, and it was going to be here. You were going to be able to see it, so I took it all back, and then I started again. And in the pattern, you've got to place stitch markers along, and you start off. You knit one stitch, put a marker in, and then place a marker, knit another stitch, place another marker, and you do that at various intervals along the row. And I started knitting, and I was doing my raglan decreases and being very careful not to put them in the wrong place and things like that. See, it's very pretty. I mean, I've knitted with this raglan style before. Don't know if you can. There is a handy backdrop. And as I was knitting, I was thinking, what am I supposed to be doing with these two stitch markers here? So I carried on knitting, and what I was doing, and I can't believe I was so foolish, was I only did one raglan, whereas you've got two, because that's your shoulder shaping. No, it's upside down. There we go, that's your shoulder shaping. And I'd only knitted one of these. It was this one actually, because it was this one where the stitch markers were. And I was thinking, and when I realised, I'd got so far, I'd got to the point where I'd done all this shaping, I'd even started the pattern down here. And when you've done so many raglan increases, you then, for your size, you then have to divide for the sleeves. And at this point in the pattern, it says you should have so many stitches on the needle. And I looked at mine and I thought, I don't think I've got that many on here. And I counted them, and sure enough, I had loads short. And I just sort of was staring at my knitting, I was just looking at it, and it dawned on me what I'd done. But only knitted the one raglan, set of raglan. So I would have had it was the one at the front here, this one that I hadn't bothered. I'd only got the one at the back. And I just stared at it, hoping that something miraculous was going to happen and that I wasn't going to have to rip it all back and start again. I didn't weep, but I mean, perhaps with anything else, I might have just bunged it back in the bag and put it to one side and thought, oh, I'll deal with that. But this is so gorgeous to knit with. I really like the pattern, and it was expensive. So I ripped it all back and started again. So that's where I'm up to now. And it's lovely. I keep forgetting it's top down, so I'm always looking at it upside down. But that's kind of, I don't even show you properly, am I? Sort of. There we are. That's sort of, and I think I've only got now. I think I've now got to count my stitches. Fingers crossed, I've got them all on there, and then divide for the sleeves. Or maybe I've got one more raglan shaping to do. I can't remember where I'm up to now. But yeah. Oh, honestly, I couldn't believe it. So, and not so long ago, somebody referred to me when she was talking to me on the phone. She said, "And you're such an expert knitter." Oh, I'm not. I am not. Anyway. Oh, dear, oh dear. So I'm knitting it on, this is the tag that was attached to the skein. I'm knitting it on, I think you pronounce that Lenamouré, and it is baby alpaca, silk and cashmere, and it is the Aphrodite yarn. Lovely. So, and I've got it housed in my Yarn Dyer's Daughter's bag, Megan Lay. It's a gorgeous bag, it's beautifully made, absolutely beautifully made. And everything fits snugly in there. So, hopefully, next time I podcast, this might be finished, because I do enjoy knitting on it, and I want to knit on it all the time. The other thing I am knitting on is, put the pattern in the bag, is, it's another pair of socks. But there's a little bit of detail in these socks. It's not exactly a pattern, it's more you describe it as detail, I think. And it is the Curious Handmade Sock Society. It's the present one. And it is the picnic blanket socks. See, there's yeah, it's not a pattern really, is it? It's more like detail. And I thought I could cope with that. And it's also knit in sort of speckled yarn. So I am knitting it on. I've started a pair. And again, it's Sherry Iris Sock Club, and this is last month's Sock Club. The Foxglove Wood Sock Club. Gorgeous ball band. beautiful artwork. And this is the sock. And that's the mini that came. And that's what it looks like balled up. And so it's got all the, obviously all the colours in the sock, but then it's got this, it's like a grey and a charcoal. It's not showing it very well, can you? That's better. You see, you've got the grey. It's very, very pretty. Lovely. Again, this is platinum sock 4-ply, superwash merino and nylon, and caked up. That's it's very pretty. There's some pale greens and pinks. It's very pretty. But I had a bit of a disaster. I think last time on my last podcast I said I was having some trouble with the swift and the wool winder, and I got so much balled up on the wool winder, and then it all just all fell off. So I've got this to sort out because I won't have enough wool to knit the other sock. I mean, I'll just, something on the radio or something on the television and just sit and wind it all back up again. Oh. So again, I'm knitting them on 2.25 Chiago 9-inch circulars, but with a bit of a pattern, a bit more detail. And of course it's the classic Helen Stewart pattern where you get the little done column, and you can tick it off, and you can, so you see that's how far I am, and it's quite satisfying to know that I am beyond 25%. Little things. So that's those two. So showing you those socks. I'll show you that. So I've cast on. I wanted to make a shawl. I wanted to make a light shawl, and I'd seen a few shawls on podcasts, and the one that I thought would suit me best was the Andrea Mari's Birds and Feather shawl. Now again, I'm late to the party. This has been knitted so many times. I wanted to knit it originally I was watching Vicky West Green Loft Yarns, and one of her older podcasts, and she had knitted, oh, it was beautiful, she'd knitted it in her own colourway, in her own wool. The colourway was I think it was Jane Bennett, with the Jane Bennett colourway mohair and the sock yarn. But her yarns are so beautiful. Every time she has an update, I always miss it. They go very quickly. So I'm going to knit that. I haven't got very far. So I think Vicky's having an update next Saturday, but I went on to Eden Cottage, and I bought 2 skeins of Carlisle fingering in the barn door colourway. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's that's showing up quite well actually. Those colours, there's taupes and greys and a little bit of pink and a very, very pale green, and then that's a sort of a bluey green. Oh, it's lovely. I can show it to you. See, this is this cake. Perfect. I think. Oh no, I haven't told you that bit either. I was having trouble with the wool winder. No, I did, with that Sherry Iris yarn. What I was doing was I was winding it towards the swift rather than away from the swift. I don't know why I did that, because I did it the other way, and this was just perfect. So that caked up really well. And the mohair I'm using is Eden Cottage yarns. It's Eldwick lace, and it is the Falling Leaves colourway. Well, this is Kid Silk Mohair, and I'm not very good at putting colours together, but I think I made a decent job of that, like that. I think that's quite good. So it would, anyway, I can show you how much I've done already, which is not very much. There, that's the right side. So you're knitting it on 4mm needles, so it's quite a loose knit. Seem to have gone awry there a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. It's lovely, and I'm now on the next section is still carrying on with the mohair, but it's the lace section. So I've got them on quite small circulars because I will obviously, as it gets bigger, put them on a longer cable, but it just bounces out all over the place. Right, see if I can get it all back in here now in my elderflower stitches bag. There we go. And I'm not really bothered how long this takes me to knit, actually. I think I'll just knit on it as and when, because, well, mind you, it's light enough you could wear it on a summer evening, something like that. Yeah. So the only other bit of, oh no, my habitation throw, which I've decanted into a basket now because it was getting too big for the bag, bulging. So that's again, this is Curious Handmade, but everybody knows habitation throw, and that's it. Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade, and I'm using all the minis from Shariara's Advent calendar. So I'm up to day 6, I think, day 6, which is this yarn here. There, it's so pretty. Let me see, it might be 5 actually, I'll show you it anyway. So there we are, and I'm knitting it in day order, so from the bottom it's day 1, and it's sort of fading beautifully into that sort of pop of red. I wasn't sure about that red, but everything else is, I love the grey at the bottom, but everything else is just sort of fading in. It's gorgeous. I'm really pleased with this, and hopefully it'll look nice and draped on the back of this settee. My shabby, not shabby sheep settee. It's a pigeon in the garden watching me. It's a pigeon, it's not a wood pigeon. We've got about 4 of them. They just hang about. What have I done here? That's what I've done. It's a very, very loose knit. Yeah, it's lovely. Pleased with that. And I just work on that as and when, because it's all just garter stitch. And then you've got this row here, but it's just all garter stitch, so it's TV knitting or podcast watching knitting. And there's all the colours in the basket. I think I'm actually on I'm on 5, I think. Don't know which one is number 6. Can't remember now. Anyway, so it might be that one actually. Oh no, it's the 16th. I've got the you get the it was a beautiful advent, and you get all the minis. I mean, I've caked them up now, but they come in like a mini skein and in a little fabric envelope, sort of little packet, and then you've got this on the tied onto the packet of the days. So I kept them all, and I put them like that. Gorgeous colours. So that's my habitation throw. And the only other bit of knitting, and I'm not actually started yet, but this is future plan is I want to knit some cardigans for myself, and Jane from Hedgerow Yarns had an update, and I bought 4 skeins of this beauty. It is alpaca silk and linen 4-ply. Absolutely gorgeous. It's not. I know it's a very similar colour to the Margot cardigan, but it's not. It's not quite as much of a sheen. I think it's baby alpaca silk and linen as opposed to cashmere. It's gorgeous. A little bit of a halo on it. Oh, it's lovely. And it's colourway's graphite. So I've caked 2 skeins up already. Again, see there, perfect. So I must have been doing something wrong. Then, but that's it all caked up. And I'm going to knit the. No, I want to say it's a JI. So would that be Gigi? I don't know. But it's by Ankerstrick, and it's a perfectly plain cardigan. Knitted top down, so I thought I might even knit a couple of those. There was also the by Ankerstrick, the girlfriend cardigan, that looked lovely as well. But I thought I'll and the solstice, and it's solstice spring cardigan. I bought and downloaded those, but I'm going to knit this one for now. It's just stocking stitch knitted down, and it's got a slanted contiguous shoulder, so I'm not quite sure what that is, but we'll find out. I don't think there's any more pictures. It's a paid for pattern. Perfectly plain, but would it be? Do they pronounce? I think it's German. A German, and do they pronounce their J's as Y's like you? I don't know. Anyway, someone might be able to tell me. But it's a lovely pattern, and I'm going to knit it in the Hedgerow Yarns graphite. Well, I think that's all my knitting. Again, it's enough. So it's the sewing now. I made, since the last podcast, I've made 2 dresses. I'm not probably going to be able to show you very well because if I stand up, everything just disappears. I made another. It actually looks a bit big, this, but it's a size. I do a size 14. It looks quite big. I can never remember which one's which, but this is the one that has the dart coming up from the side. And of course, it's got the 4 classic darts there. It's a Merchant Mills pattern, Hellas and Hattie, and this fabric is from Merchant and Mills. I think it's called Aquamarine Sea. There was an update about a month ago, and I think this was dead stock. I can't remember, but anyway, I thought, oh, I like that, and it's a bit of a change from the grunge, so I've made that. I haven't sewn onto the inside of this facing to stop it rolling back. I don't know why I've not done that, but that's my Merchant and Mills. I think it's the Hattie with the one. I think so. It's Ellis or Hattie anyway, but I think you can mix and match them. You can, because this one hasn't got the side darts. This is and no sleeves. I showed this on a previous podcast. It's my sort of workhouse dress. that's that one. And then I also I bought this material from Merchant & Mills way back at the start of the first lockdown, and I really wanted to make another Ellison Hattie dress out of it. I thought this would look really lovely, and it's very, very drapey. It's not as heavy as that one, it's very drapey, and I didn't have enough. They didn't have enough left. I could only buy 1.5 meters, so I bought the 1.5 meters and thought, at first I thought I might make a camber, but then I thought, no, I prefer the trapeze. It's very roomy. I prefer the trapeze, and this fabric is, oh, what's that? Oh, I don't know what's showing that up for. I mean, that's the thing with linen, is you get little block, but that one, never noticed that before, but the camera shows up all sorts of things. Anyway, this is Harvest Moon, and I think it's a linen and cotton mix. It's gorgeous. Harvest Moon. So those two dresses finished, and then I was looking for something else. I was going through something, looking for something else, and I came across this quilt that I hadn't finished, and I'd been abandoned, and I wondered why. And as I was looking, I thought, yeah, I remember why. Apart from the fact I had run out of material, of this material. There's loads of mistakes in it. Oh, it's appalling. And it is a Lewis and Irene fabric, and it's a Lewis and Irene. It's a free pattern, and it's called the Star Quilt. And I've used their fabric because that's their fabric that they've got in there. You also get I think you'd call that a schematic, where you can make you with your own fabric you can still make the star. Am I showing that up? I'm not showing that upside down. There we go. So, and it's Lewis and Irene. So I copied the. You get that might be better. It's a better picture. And I used the fabric that they used to make up this quilt. I bought it at a local patchwork and quilt specialist shop, and they stock quite a bit of Lewis and Irene fabrics. Obviously they're not open at the moment, but you get the. I can show you this because it's free, a free pattern, and my little drawings things, but you get how much you need of all the fabric, and also get the code. There we are, fabric used, and they give you the fabric codes, so you can buy the right one if you want to. And I did. I copied their fabric. Lewis and Irene fabrics are beautiful. They're made in this country. They're made down in Hampshire. That's where they're based, and I think that's why it's expensive. But it's so worth it. It's I mean, despite the fact that this quilt is full of mistakes, it still looks okay, but it's not. I can't see if I can see. That's the main bit, and you can see it's definitely wintry thing. There's that's fabric winter and bluebell wood, and there's sort of nighttime animals you'd see in the wood, and it's some of these I've put on upside down, so that was another mistake. And this, now I think this is mistletoe. I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's mistletoe. Looks like mistletoe, doesn't it? And it's more of the main fabric, and then there's this spotty fabric, and this is what I ran out of, because I need to now do this bit at the top. It's in two sections, and I need to do this bit on the bottom bit. But I also had, I don't know, cutting out issues. Can you see that? I've had to. So I mean, it's a thoroughly botched up job, but I'll finish it, and I will fold it up, put it on the back of the settee here. I can fold it best side to London, and you won't see all the errors, because some of it is I mean, yeah, you see, I've not I've not quite got it lined up properly there. And I realise now what I've been doing. This is the third quilt I made, and I used to look at the quilt and think, it's a bit wonky, some of the fabric's wonky. And what I was doing was lying the fabric on a, just used to press the fabric, fat quarter, whatever, and lay it on the cutting mat, get my ruler and then put it at the measurement. I think like these are half square triangles, so it's I think it's 4.5 inches square, and I would just go 4.5 inches and do a strip. And then I got a book out of the library for another reason, I can't remember what, and they show you how to cut out the fabric and what, and I thought, well, I'm not doing that. I mean, you've got to square off the fabric you to begin with before you start, and take the selvages off, and you use the 24-inch ruler, but you also use a 6-inch ruler to make sure that ruler is straight. So I sent for a 6-inch square ruler, and the last quilt I made, which was for Ted, I could see the difference. I mean, there was still a couple of mistakes in that, but I could see the difference. So I thought, yeah. So I will finish that and put it out. I can put it out over Christmas and then put it away. And it would be nice to make another one, sort of for all year round, really, rather than a particularly seasonal one. But anyway. So, I mean, this fabric's too beautiful to waste. It's just too beautiful to waste. So, I'll sort that out. And yeah, sewing. The other thing I want to have a go at, and I bought, here they are. It's embroidery, and I bought a couple of, I came across the stitchery through Gaynor, Tales from Cuckoo Land. She talked about the stitchery and showed some of the work that she'd done, and I thought, oh, it's so beautiful. And also Vicky from West Greenloft Yarns. In fact, I think Vicky stocks these or stocks kits from the stitchery. I might be mistaken. So anyway, I bought a couple, and they come. I've had this a while, and I think her packaging has changed a little, because I've got another one that's a bit different, and they are just so gorgeous. So this one is the Rose Basket embroidery kit, and it's this gorgeous vintage, tied up with this gorgeous vintage ribbon. And then you get, now I'm all ready to go here. I put it in the, you get this, you get antique, it's antique linen. You get the little picture to embroider on there. So I've put it, I shouldn't have done that. I was watching Sharon's podcast, SCR1TNO. She does a weekly podcast. Gosh, and it's a lovely podcast, and she has the sampler from the stitchery, and she said you mustn't keep the fabric in the ring, you must take it out. And well, I've had this in the ring, I don't know, I tried it out, but you get a sort of a stitch guide, how to how to do the stitches, and you get the how to do the pattern. It's absolutely beautiful, and the threads just go. I mean, the whole thing, I just think, is too good to use. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So that was you don't get the hoop. You have to provide the hoop yourself. You get all the threads, and you get the linen. You get it all beautifully packaged. And I also bought this one, which is the Vintage Beehive embroidery kit. And I haven't put it in a hoop, but I've got a hoop in there ready to go. and the so I'm going to have a go at that. Yeah, the other one I've got. Well, I've got another two actually. One's a Christmas one, so I won't be doing that one just yet. But this one, this is the one I bought recently, and it comes in different packaging, but it's that. That is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I would probably put them on a front of a cushion or make a lavender bag or something. They're just gorgeous, but lovely. Anyway, that's something else I would like to have a go at. I think that's it. So again, it's a what's and all over the place podcast. I think I've mentioned everything. Yes. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.